Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spirit Coffee Talk. Grab your coffees. We meet every Friday to chit chat about all things spirit. We are the mediums and the channelers of Avalon Spirit. This week, it's myself, Lisa Richmond, and Ginette Byro. Elyse is on a beautiful adventure, so she will not be with us this week, but we send her lots of love. Okay, so we want to talk about something that's very, very prevalent right now. Right now. If you haven't seen on your social feed, your local social feed, go check it out because we are about to this weekend, Mother's Day weekend, are about to experience like some
Solar
maybe
flares.
effects,
So,
yeah,
well,
of the
not solar
solar
flares,
flare.
sorry. Geomagnetic storms from the solar flares because of the coronal mass ejections that those solar flares emitted, and they
Yes.
were Earth facing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have, okay, so you can, that's why I say go look at it because Ginette actually sent me a video and then you can actually like see what all those words mean. And they
Mhm.
have like these beautiful systems set up so you can see what that is. But on Earth, because it's facing Earth, we are projected to feel it in, we don't know, for the next 3 or 4 days. It's inevitable that we're going to feel it. It's
Mhm.
just to what effect, right? So we want to talk a little bit about today what they are and maybe some things to look out for, or to, if you're feeling a bit different or wonky, this could be an explanation onto what that is. Okay, so Ginette, you do like a fantastic job kind of describing exactly what they are. So can you kind of give us a download of what
Yeah.
happened over the last 4 days?
Yes, I love this. This is the science nerd in me. So, okay, May 7th, if I remember correctly, May 7th, we started having several X-class solar flares. And it really was like oftentimes we'll have one or two, and it's a big deal, and we feel it. But we had some May 7th, we had 3 yesterday, May 9th. Apparently, from different sources I've read, there have been 6, there have been a dozen, there have been many, we'll put it that way,
Yeah.
big solar flares in the last few days, which is a ton. Because what happens is the solar flare energy kind of does this like burp energy, this like shove of energy from the sun. And when those shoves of energy release these coronal mass ejections of like plasma matter, basically, and when it's being released facing the Earth, because sometimes it can be released facing the opposite of Earth. So that big shove of energy from the CMEs that they call them doesn't come Earth side. We still feel it, but the CME doesn't come Earth side. When it does come Earth side, that's when we see the visual, tangible evidence of it is when we see massive auroras. And that's what we're going to be seeing. So tonight, tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to see the evidence of those coronal mass ejections as it plays in the magnetic field as it hits Earth, basically. It creates these ripples in the magnetic field, and we see that through the auroras. And the interesting thing, though, is when we see that happening in the auroras, that's also happening to our individual auric fields. So just like the Earth is having this ripple effect of the energy, each and every one of us have a ripple effect of this energy individually. And the cool thing is the auroras from Spirit have always symbolized for me a change taking place, a change in energy. We're getting this solar energy from the sun rippling the global aura, and it's also rippling our individual auras within this energy of May. So we are sitting in this energetically potent weekend for feeling it. But the thing is, with the feeling it, we're going to feel it in a lot of different ways, depending on where we are in our journeys, what we're clearing, what we're needing to see, and all of that. So, but scientifically speaking, there's a big, massive push of energy that we will feel in some form, either
Okay, so
tired, dizzy.
yeah, let's talk about the physiological experiences first, and then what we kind of downloaded from Spirit and how that plays into our auric field and our energy fields.
Yeah.
Okay. So physically, it can like it's like one of those commercials. If you experience blah 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 blah, blah,
Yeah, right.
because actually we do all experience it differently based upon how we're made, right? And The thing about it is, one of the things that they said that they're saying right now that I didn't even realize is it has an effect on large bodies of water as well. And because we're so much water, it's inevitable that like we will all feel it physically because of the water content of our body, which is interesting. I never thought about that. But it's just how it manifests is going to be different based upon the energy field of your actual physical body, right? So some of the things could be, it's like kind of one side or the other side, the flip side of things. So you might feel very fatigued. You might feel like you're energetically drained, like you need to go to bed or rest or ground in water or like ground in earth or yeah, like kind of detached, they're saying. And then some might feel it as almost like a burst of energy, feeling almost like anxious, like all of a sudden, like heart palpitations, where you're like, "Ah, I've got this rise of anxiety." Now, here's what they want you to know is that the anxiety part is very normal. I was going to use it. I'm like, no, and they're like, just use it because
Mm-hmm.
it's something that they can. So that would be like a prevalent energetic response is the burst of anxiety. What they want you to remember is that you can just acknowledge the anxiety without placing it on inconsequential things. They're like, don't involve things that don't need to be involved. You know what I mean? So like we'll get a burst of anxiety and be like, my finances, right? Or like burst of
Yeah.
anxiety and be like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I have no certainty on this. And where am I gonna, like they're like, try and detach from the things that you very closely associate with anxiety. So let the anxiety just move through your body and just be like, oh, this is a physiological response to such a global event, and that you don't have to place it with individual things because that will only pull you under,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to
Another,
add?
yeah, another really good thing to do is grounding your energy. Like if you're able to, laying flat, they're showing me like that starfish position, arms out, legs out, laying flat either on your back or your stomach, um, on the earth if possible, or inside on your floor, but grounding the energy that you're feeling ripple through you into the earth, kind
Yeah,
of like merging in with the energy of the earth and let it just pass through you versus, uh, you know, hypersensitize your whole circuitry, just let it pass through you.
yeah,
That kind of thing would be
yeah.
really, really
And if
helpful.
you find the earth to be very like magnetic when you're doing, if you're very sensitive to it, then go in, like if you can float, if you're somewhere in the world where you can actually float in water,
Mm.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, right.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Do that. If not, then you can use like bodies of water, like your bathtub or your hot tub or a pool or something like that, where you can actually feel like you're transmuting the energy, and then it's like the fluidity of the water, right? They're really emphasizing one or the other.
They're also saying high salinity content too. So if you're
Add,
using like, if it's in your own bath, then add a lot of salts.
yeah,
Yeah. Interesting.
definitely.
Interesting.
That's
Huh.
really cool. You know what's
Yeah.
interesting is I naturally did that. I didn't even think about it, but it was last night. I added like, those Costco bins of Epsom salt. I put like half of mine in there for one
Yeah.
bath, and I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous, but I'm doing it anyway. And
Yeah.
it was just like, oh.
Yes.
So it's interesting how
Totally.
you can naturally kind of flow
Yeah.
into that. So those are the physiological, like with amongst of other things. It can include headaches. It can include sinus stuff too. They're saying there's like
Mhm.
some like almost like blockages in like like lots of cerebral stuff.
Mhm.
Headaches, clogginess, like your ears. I'm not sure why, but it's almost like it gets stuck in your head first.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. And any kind of aches, like it almost feels like growing pains. Like it's almost like if you're trying to move these massive electrical movements through your body, where your tendency, the places where it could get stuck for you, like where do you hold it energetically in your body? If you have places that generally you hold it, those are going to be the places in which it kind of gets stuck. So allow
Mhm.
yourself to like move it through visualization and actual physical movement. Gentle, but almost like you would try to be moving it like through your body like that fluidity, and lots and lots and lots and lots of water.
Mhm.
Drink your fluids.
Mhm. So
Okay?
another thing too is some people may find they're also super energized by this energy. And I know for myself, when there are solar flares, the flare part, I am extremely tired. But often when the CMEs come in, I am so energized
Yeah.
and like creative and ideas and popping and this and this. And I'm like, where's all this energy coming from? And what I tend to do in that situation is I burn myself out because I think,
Yeah.
oh, look at this new energy signature. And I just go to town. And then I realize, oh, I just totally used up more than what is available because I had this energy coursing through me.
Yeah.
So just notice what the energy is asking of you in any given time because
Yes.
it will change depending on if it's triggered something that you need to like tune into and sit with for a little bit, or maybe cry and release,
Okay, well,
or
now
go to
let's move
work.
into that because we're talking about physiological stuff. Let's move into what spirit gave you this morning about this, because this is kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah. So they basically were saying how these energies coming in have an opportunity to amplify whatever it is happening in your journey for clarity. That's the biggest thing. It's like this big push of energy for clarity. And for some, that clarity is going to be in an uplifting, creative, new ideas, right timing, synchronistic meetings kind of way. For others, there's going to be clarity in what is not working,
What is
in
not working?
where are the blocks, in what are you not wanting to see about yourself or a relationship or something. It's about bringing in these shoves of clarity for change. And for some people, it can be both because in some aspects of your life, things are aligning and they're very clear. In other aspects, they need some work too. So it's like really sitting with what is coming up from these feelings, sensations kind of thing. What is it telling you? Because it's trying to give you clarity,
Hmm.
illumination,
Yes.
enlightenment, right? All that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Hmm. And whether you're, and then to like kind of pair that with the physiological aspect of it is when you were saying, like, sit in whatever's coming through and let that work through you. So if you have a bunch of energy and an influx of energy, lots of times that's a great opportunity. Like our bodies will naturally do that as well to move energy through our body if it needs to be. It's like, okay, well, if we're sitting stagnant, this energy is going to get stuck. Right. And so movement will really be helpful. So if you do have a burst of energy and creative outlook, try and do things that are very um organic to your system. So what do you mean by that? Like it's, you don't necessarily have to hit up the doing of the energy of like, okay, now it's time to like get all my checklist stuff done. And I'm gonna like, you know what I mean? They're saying like more of the energetic flow and the fluidity of the organic movements or synchronicities of your system. So it's like a great time to like do your yoga or dance or like do the things that are organically, innately something that you move to when you're going to move your body instead of I shoulds.
Yep.
Okay, now that I have all this, I should get all the things done because it doesn't really align when you're doing the things that are like shoulds out of alignment because you want to get it done. Is like lean in just for this burst of energy to the things that really align. Okay, this makes sense because that's going to help the manifestation process. That is so potent right now.
That's exactly what's been happening to me. They like
Yeah.
explained that all yesterday. And it's exactly this like surrender that, or not even surrender, but like drop all the bags and then pick up the ones you actually need right now
Yeah.
and tend to those bags, not in a
Yeah.
rush, not in a, frenzy of shoulds, but just, and it just completely like exactly what you described is
Yeah.
literally what I'm living right now. And it's
Yeah.
so interesting to observe it with more
Yes.
clarity.
It is because
Yeah.
when you drop the bags and only pick up the ones you need, it's like it gives the opportunity for those ones to flourish. Like when you're gardening and you're doing carrots, after you have them and they start growing, you have to go through and pay, otherwise they grow into each other. But by creating space in your row of carrots, it allows your carrots to actually grow to the full capacity and absorb all the nutrients without intertwining, and then it's all kind of amok,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this natural organic energy influx or cause for rest and restore is all crucial for this process in your life of change, of moving forward, of moving into your higher timeline, into the timeline frequency that you're moving into, right? So that when the opportunities do knock, you're able to see them more clearly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what, my guides are saying right now too? They're saying, remember when we talked about temperamental physiology this year, and that this year we would feel like our bodies are being temperamental in their sensitivities and the requirements for shifting and changing what we do. They're saying for many of you, you'll be able to recognize what you viewed before as temperamental physiology is now actually coming into clarity, and you're understanding your body, and you're like for many people, this energy offers an opportunity of refinement of what they're doing with their body now. So
I
it's
love
like pay
that.
attention to it.
Totally. Because I think about that. I'm like, oh, like for myself, if I look back and see what the temperamental aspects of self in
Yeah.
all areas were, I look at now and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when that was like, what is happening? Where I'm like, now I'm like, this is like, I guard that. Like I take care of that because I know that's a natural way of being in a sensitive body.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I'm
Absolutely.
like, with recognizing that, I take care of that
Hmm. Totally.
instead of ignoring her and then letting her flare up when it's time to get my attention,
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
temperamental, right?
Absolutely. So it's like these pieces of clarity for the body, for the mind, of course, but like the spirit of ourselves, our higher selves, in support from like with support from our spirit guides and Mother Earth is coming in strong
Big time.
and clearer than before. And so this weekend really offers like a leap or like several steps forward if we're really willing to observe it with our eyes open.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? But
Yeah.
like some of that comes through a little bit of discomfort or changes, like random events that change things. But then when you step back for a sec, you're like, oh, that change that I didn't necessarily want, now that it's just happened, I notice I feel a relief. And I notice I feel a
Totally.
relief because holy smokes, it's just opened up this pathway that I've been sort of pushing away.
Yeah.
And here it is. Like these are the
Yes.
things, the pieces of
Yes.
clarity. There's so much available this weekend
Yeah.
um, if we're observers in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That feels really good.
I agree.
And everybody's going to be feeling this differently. So, like, just remember to make space for everybody's processing because it will be different and it'll look differently. They're saying that kids and the children aren't going to be as affected as much. This is really interesting because this is just coming through now. Tell me how it aligns with you. I see them like watching us and them like knowing on a different level that there's change happening, but it's more about the old paradigm that is being worked through, so it's going to affect us more than these like golden children, and they're more like our cheerleaders. So
Totally.
really take in the energy of the kids because they're bringing that power through to help us clear out so that we can all kind of ascend forward. They don't need to do the work. They're
Mm-hmm.
not doing the same work. They're not clearing out to the depths. They'll feel
Totally.
it physiologically in a way, but it's almost like their design is made to like process this through as a reflector back on us to be able to release it and then we can go. So they're little reflectors, which
Mm-hmm.
is really interesting. That just
Makes
came
so much
through.
sense. Yeah.
It does make sense, hey?
Yeah. Yeah. I see that for sure.
Very cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, what about globally? Now, did you picture anything? Like, there's a lot of speculation
Right.
about power outages, maybe any of the circuits kind of stuff that are going out.
So what I'm showing is it's not. as simple as A plus B equals C with that, because there are a lot of things that can affect
Yes.
internet, global circuitry things. It's not as linear as just geomagnetic storm,
Yes. I
right?
agree.
Like there's layers under that, whether we go into conspiracy or whatever, like and without going down that road. Spirit is saying there are many layers. That yes, it sometimes can. I don't get a sense that the sun will be responsible for things that could occur.
I agree. Because
Interesting.
different parts of the earth hold different frequencies due to many different things
Mhm.
from above and below, right? Are you getting
Yeah,
the same thing?
yeah,
Yeah. So that's why. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, we'll see beautiful energy though, again, through those auroras and stuff,
Rainbows.
like, yeah, into the fuchsias and the oranges,
Yes.
like beyond just the greens and kind of the yellows. It has the ability to go deep. And so those colors will really
Love
show you
that.
how deep it goes. And like if you're willing to dive into that energy, it has the opportunity to be very revolutionary for you,
Yes.
especially within this month with everything we've been talking about and that like transformation. It's just, yeah, opportunity to be pretty epic, like within the heart space, it can be revolutionary for you, the individual.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look for a little bit of funkiness, maybe with weather patterning. Look at the card that jumped out. The sun.
Oh, I love that. Yep. Got it. Got it.
Oh,
Funny.
well, I think that's pretty promising.
Yeah, that fits. Look at this serendipity. This is
Nice.
all about beautiful divine alignments, synchronistic
Yes.
things happening, and that like kind of like I said, when something shifts and you're like, I didn't see that coming, but you realize what it allowed, it's this like serendipitous moment.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Totally.
And sometimes those moments though of like where something ends and allows for something new to begin, there's even in the feeling of like, yes, I see the alignment, there can still be like a grief and a mourning and a letting go,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
even though you feel the positivity in it and the excitement. Like it can be two things at once, like we've talked about before, like two things
Yes.
can be right, two oppositional things can be happening at the same time. And so I think that's one thing to encourage to keep within our mental state throughout this weekend is like the availability to feel all of the things at once at times.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And allow because it's a part of it. It's a part of all the things. Like think about this in a really like a visual way when you are flushing something out, right? It's going to collect this part and this part and this part and all kind of move it through, right? So you are going to have the surfacing of different aspects along the way that is going to show up, and it's going to be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all things. And instead of having judgment on it or placing it to direct, really try to just let it move through. Okay, because it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be
hmm,
intense. It's a big one. So
yeah,
um keep that in mind. Okay, Jeanette, I gotta do this because this is incredible. I picked just five. Sun, okay,
of course.
strength,
Mm,
which
big
makes
one.
sense,
Yeah,
right? Because I love this strength because look at it's a giant lion, and there she is, her hand here, and she's got total control over it. So like picture this solar flare like the lion and the strength and the velocity in which it carries, yet you hold the like total control and strength over how you want, and like even the direction of light as it hits,
totally. Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
like integrating it and everything, you can maneuver through this. Okay. with divine timing, this is patience,
Mm,
which is such
mhm.
divine timing, right? And this kind of goes with the serendipity card. It's like keep balance. There's going to be an influx of like one side and the other side, keeping balance. So this is a really, really, really good one for divine timing. And then Hermit, which is it doesn't matter even if you have like a ton of energy, you can do your things, you can do your activities, but it's integrating it is the most important. And I think that's what they mean with the Hermit card is like, don't be reactive with all the energy. Even if it's like
Mhm.
a total influx of energy and all these things are coming through, try not to be super reactive. Sit on it for a minute.
Yeah.
Sit on all the information until like Tuesday. You know what I mean? So sit on it
Mhm.
and then star. So I got
Destiny.
5 majors. So when the major arcanas come on and the only ones that show up in a reading are majors,
Yeah,
that
that's
goes to
huge.
show that it is big energy. It's big, big,
Yeah.
big, big energy. Okay.
Destiny based.
100%. You
Yeah.
have some big things coming down the pipe with it. And that's why it's important to sit on it. Don't be super reactive because this is really big, big stuff that you've been working towards energetically, spiritually, emotionally for
Mhm.
years.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's only going to hit you this weekend and if you miss it, it's gone. No, it's like you're going to start to put the pieces together, the integration processes together, the rest, the restore, the influx of energy, the intuition. Like you're going to be getting a bunch of pieces to be able to integrate. Don't be reactive. You have the tools here. But it is big, so utilize this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, spirit came through a lot more than I thought. I didn't
Amazing. I
think.
love it. I love it. That's great. It's pertinent to right now.
Yeah, do you have anything else to add?
No, honestly, that just feels really complete. It's like just embrace the energy and what it brings to you without judgment, without fear. Just embrace it, see what it has to say, and utilize it
Yes.
to move forward.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and that you got some tidbits from this. And I'm super curious to see how this all plays out. So make sure you comment below and let us know how you're feeling, how things are going, experiences that have happened, and we'll touch again on it another time. So thank you so much for tuning in and have a wonderful weekend. And we're sending lots and lots and lots of solar love from Avalon Spirit. See you
Bye,
next time.
everyone.